But Tay and I were talking last night about the complexities of it and like the layers of how deep and complicated addiction can get. And for me, it seems like it would sometimes be the toughest to be the person, the brother, the wife, the friend, because you start to develop this, you love these people, you care about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you start to develop this, savior thing within yourself.
Yep.
Where, all you want to do is help them. All you want to do is save them. But you're shown over and over again that it's not working.
Yep.
So then you tell yourself, well, if I stop helping them, they're just going to fail.
Yep. And it's going to be my fault.
And then it's going to be my fault. So you attach this guilt to what could happen. And it's like, when and how do you draw that line?
We've both had to do it.
Yeah.
Hard lines.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to do it with my brother.
You
we
did.
actually weren't talking when he passed away, which is
Really?
yeah, it's unfortunate, but
It's that line.
it's so crazy how like somebody can just completely change. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, my brother was just like all-star, like prom king, like baseball player. Like, he was that guy. And then it's like, when he would get back on the bottle and start dabbling in pills and stuff, it was literally somebody that I was scared of.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. Like, I was 14, 15, 16 years old, and it's just like, I don't even recognize this dude. What the hell? Where'd my brother go?
Yeah.
And as I got older, like, it got worse and worse and worse. And my brother wasn't the guy who struggled his whole life. Like, my brother would get sober for 6 months or a year and then like rebuild his entire life and get an amazing job. Yeah, he was like training NFL players and tennis players and athletes, and
How my dad
had this crazy job. Like, he would just be so successful, and then he would just like literally take one sip, dude, and it was just like all gone. And then he would go on a bender for like a year and then get sober again, and it was a roller coaster.
So it was a constant battle. It was like,
dude. Like, I have this like horrible memory. Like, I'll never forget it. I was in my mom's car, and my little sister's in the back seat, and my mom had bought this powder, and apparently, like, if the person drank this powder, if they drank alcohol, it would like make them throw up. Like, it had this like reaction, would make them sick. And I remember my mom gave this powder to my brother's girlfriend, and she was on the phone, and she was like, please, like, put this in his orange juice in the morning. Like, it'll make him so he can't drink. And I just remember his girlfriend being like, I can't, like, I'm scared. Like, I'm scared to do that. And then my mom just like bawling her eyes out in the car. It's just like, what the hell is going on? You know what I mean? It's just like, unlimited stories, which I'm sure so many people who have dealt with somebody who struggles with addiction can relate to, because it wasn't until later in life when I had like seen other friends start struggling with it where I'm like, whoa, you guys all change and you all do like these like very similar out of character things. I told Jaclyn, it's like, it's almost like they go to like a class and it's like, they're like, this is how you act when you're on it. And
it's a disease. It takes you over.
It's like, I mean, it's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I used to not think it was a disease. I was like, that's a cop out. Just stop.
Right.
Stop drinking. Stop
It's a
taking the
choice.
pills.
You're making a
stop.
choice.
Grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I very much, now that I'm 34 years old and have been through what I've been through with everybody, I'm like, this is a disease.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. These people in my life, my best friend, my dad, my ex, they did not want that for themselves. They were better than that.
Yeah.
And it like sunk its teeth into them. Yeah. And it's true. They do things so out of character and it's just, you're like, who are you?
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to love you. I'm trying so hard to help you, but who are you? Why would you do this to me? And then it's like, it becomes a me thing. You don't love me. Why are you doing this to me? And after years and years and years of that, it's like, okay, so you don't love me anymore. And it's like, this is not about you.
Yeah.
They're doing this to you because of them. You are just in their space right now, and they need to get clean. But they'll only get clean and change not only if they want to, but if they have the strength to. It's so.
Yeah.
I could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
It's such a hard subject. It's so deep. It's so sad. It's so sad.
Because as much of a disease that it is, you are getting hurt by it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you are catching the stray bullets.
Yeah.
You are taking a lot of the pain. And that's the hard part, because then, it, once again, when do you stand up and protect yourself?
Yeah. That's the question, right? My therapist looked at me and said, it's either your life or his. Which one are you going to choose? Because you're sinking into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it is, no matter if it's a spouse, if it's a best friend, if it's a sister, if it's a mom, a dad. It's just when you're really, really close to someone, it gets to that point.
Yeah.
And if they are saying, I want to change, but yet they refuse to go to rehab and they refuse to know that they have a problem, they're not going to change. It's not going to change. And I think that was the hardest part for me with everybody that I had in my life, was just being like, okay, I have to listen to what they're saying and accept it instead of trying to force them to get better. Because they are telling me by their actions that they don't want to change, or it's like the same thing with all of them. They would go to rehab, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and they get out and they go back to the substance within 24 hours, and I'd be like, okay, let's do it again. Let's do rehab again. Yeah. Let's do it again. Come on. But it's like, are their actions showing that they want this or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just.
How did you finally get to that point of being like setting that boundary?
That's it's so hard.
At the end of the day, I don't think you ever actually fully set like a solid boundary, because like Taylor said, like, you love these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I can't be around, like, for me, just personally speaking, for my brother, it would just get like so toxic and like scary to me, because and it would hurt me, because it's like, I love this guy. It's like, I idolize this dude my whole life. Yeah. And I would just literally have to be like, I can't talk to you, bro. Like, I can't talk to you till you're sober. Yeah. And I would just have to tell him straight up. And like, being like a 16, 17-year-old kid telling your, 26, 27-year-old brother that, it's like, that's tough.
Yeah.
But it's like, if he needed help, I'm there. So it's like, is there actually like, there's kind of a boundary, but also it's like, I'm still here for you. You know what I mean? It's like, you're still like, you got to, you know what I'm saying? You got a pulse on them. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
I think for me, the point in my personal journey of when I set the boundaries with everybody, this is not just one person, but everybody, is when everyone around me was like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Everyone around me was like, enough. Your dad needs to be out of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people, this is too far. Friends and family started seeing like physical abuse happening and just things, horrible things. Yeah. And it's like, it's almost like you wake up one day and you're like, oh my God, how did I get to this point? And then you have this inner battle because you're like, I want to help them. I want to save them. And that's all you want. That's it. But if they don't want it for themselves, it is not going to happen. So it gets to the point where it's like, here are several numbers to rehabs. You have my number. You call me if you are ready for help. Otherwise, I can't be in your life. Because next thing you know, you start enabling it and you start making excuses for it. And then it's like, and then, the toxic actions start happening and you're just like, okay, it's just another bad day. Okay, we're going to get through this. And it's like, you're both just drowning. It's like you have weights tied around your ankles in the deep end. Yeah. And it's like someone has to come up for air. It's like you got to put your mask on first to breathe. Yeah. Get that breath so that you are there and you are strong and you are able-bodied for when and if that time comes that they're ready to save themselves and they truly need help. You're like, okay, I've got you now. I'm here. Yeah. And unfortunately, for a lot of people in my life, that didn't happen. Yeah.
Something that you just mentioned, and then something that, we've talked about in private, is those therapy sessions. Yeah. And I just think it's so, I'm going to get emotional thinking about you. I think it's so powerful, yet like devastating, because it's so real. Like having to have that conversation with a therapist, being like, it is your life or theirs. Like knowing that, if I leave this person, if I put, this boundary, if I, do what I need to do and separate myself from this human, like, there is going to be a chance that they fail, and that is most likely going to be the outcome. And I know that's something that a lot of people face and what keeps a lot of people
Yeah.
stuck in these situations. Do you have any advice or words for someone that, is in that same situation right now that you were once in, and just like feeling just so helpless and kind of just like at a fork in a road?
Oh my gosh. Words of advice that I would have for somebody that's going through this.
Or something that you like thought of that helped you through, or just like what that time was like.
Yeah, I would say, and this is regarding all of it, like all three people, right? Like in this moment, I'm not just thinking about my dad, or I'm not just thinking about my ex or my friend, thinking about all of it. I would love to be able to talk to myself, 10 years ago, and just say, like, I promise you that there is life outside of this. I promise you that it doesn't always have to be like this, that you don't have to feel this pain every single day. Because going from my dad to my friend to my ex, it's like for, I would say, 20 years straight of my life, I was in survival mode and like savior mode every day of my life.
Yeah.
Every day. And the exhaustion and the toll that takes on you. I mean, I went through therapy for 8 years with my therapist just for addiction, all different forms of therapy.
Wow.
Hypnosis, talk therapy, EMDR, neurofeedback. Like, I was doing everything I possibly can just to try to work through this. Because as you can imagine, there's a lot deep inside of me, and there's some really dark belief systems because of this, And it's like, and I did make a lot of it about me at times, which I can admit now, like, why would you do this to me? Why would my dad do this to me? Me, 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 me. And it's like, girl, it's not about you. And that's something that I would like to say to my younger self, is like, this is not about you. This is not a reflection on you. Stop making it about you. Stop making it about their love for you. They do love you as much as they possibly can and as much as they know how, but they're sick and they need help. That's what it comes down to. They need help. It's like, you're not going to stand over someone dying in a hospital bed and be like, why don't you love me?
Yeah. That's so real. That's a really good analogy.
So I wish that I could hear my future self say that to me when I was young. They need help, and they're not going to get help unless they want it. And that's the hardest part, because you're like, well, if I walk away, what's going to happen to them?
Yeah.
You have to love yourself enough to walk away and just get yourself strong, get yourself right, get your head in the right space. So then when and if that time comes, you're there for them.